Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Sorry to keep you waiting. We were just trying to get everybody into the speakers lobby, and we've done that now. So we are really glad to have you here this afternoon. Thanks so much indeed for joining Skills Fest, delivered by the UK Skills Partnership and the Department for Business and Trade. I'm Jonathan Ledger. I'm the Skills and Professional Body Specialist within the Department for Business and Trade, and also lead on the UK Skills Partnership activity. We have a brilliant selection of UK suppliers here this afternoon that are going to talk us through their international offer and all the things that they do, because they're all brilliant in their own way and they all come from different angles and places, which is just fabulous. That's what we want to see and hear. And they will talk about their international application as well, so what they do overseas. And that's really important to us to make sure that we see all of that. Now, on this afternoon, I'm going to go through it in order. We have Calley, Alavoine, I hope I said that right, and Calley Page from New City College Group, Allan O'Neill, SCU Motorsport, Jamie Allan from Forth Valley College, Neil Smith from Cogent Skills, Nicola Dolan from EAL, which is Enginuity Group. We have Rachel Bunn from East Coast College Group, and we have Pete Jackson from IMI, the Institute of the Motor Industry. So we will dive straight in with Calley and Calley, and we will take all the questions at the end. So please do put your questions in the chat. We will come back to them. And also, if you're watching this, put your contact details in the chat and we will pick them out as well. And hopefully you can do a bit of networking with each other and with the speakers. So straight over to you, Calley and Calley, off you go. Thanks so much, everyone.
I'm Calley Page. I am the Group Director for Apprenticeships, Commercial and Business Development at New City College, and I have my colleague here with me.
And I'm Carly Alavoine, and I'm the Commercial Manager here at New City College.
So just a little bit about us at New City College. So we're all about empowering future leaders and building skills and shaping the future. It's one of the biggest things that we're really keen to support at New City College. So just a bit about who we are. So we are one of the largest outstanding further education providers in the UK. So outstanding by Ofsted standards. We had our latest inspection in March of this year, which is something we're really, really proud of. So New City College is made up of lots of different individual colleges, and now we've got around about 14 different campuses across predominantly London and the southeast of England, but we hold a whole host of courses and training that's delivered. So whether that's commercially for organisations, we do a lot of training internationally as well for that. We also do your traditional sort of 16 to 18 further education provision, A-levels, T-levels, apprenticeships. So just from that offer, you can tell we've got a very strong vocational, technical and professional offer. We're keen and consistently work and build partnerships with employers, with universities and global organisations. And we pride ourselves on being aligned with the UK National Skills Agenda. We know there are significant skills shortages across the UK and also internationally, and we want to do our bit. So whether that's through innovation, inclusion or collaboration with yourselves, we want to be able to support you on your journey and the industries for the future to make sure we can future-proof that workforce. We have a very, very clear mission and vision statement here at New City College. So it's about providing exceptional learning and training opportunities to prepare learners and businesses for success. Now, anyone who undertakes a course with us, so whether you're a pre-16 or whether you're actually already in work, potentially looking to upskill yourselves or your team, we actually want to make you as successful as you can potentially be. And we want to be a leader in education, skills development and workforce transformation.
Just a quick overview of some of our training programs. As Kelly's already mentioned, we direct training programs not only within the UK but internationally based. These courses range from anything such as non-accredited courses within just getting into some trades like plumbing and decorating, all the way through to HNCs, and obviously with our university partnerships, we do our level 5s and level 6 onwards. We have industry recognised qualifications, like I've just mentioned, non-accredited skills and development, but we also work with some of the biggest awarding bodies out there who industry recognise our qualifications and our courses to ensure that they're meeting workforce demand and the skills demand. We pride ourselves on being really able to give flexible delivery methods, so we can work with employers and identify which training needs are the best for them, whether or not it's an online course, whether or not candidates want to come into our campuses, whether or not we go onto your premises to deliver training, or we look at hybrid models, which could be some online lessons and some face-to-face lessons. We do what we can to design and meet workforce and career needs and aspirations.
So as I touched on earlier, apprenticeships is obviously a key focus within the UK. We do a lot of work-based learning, so combining that employment and study. I think for anyone who's not familiar with apprenticeships, the biggest thing for that is essentially it's a full-time course and full-time employment sort of rolled into one to provide learners with the best set of knowledge, skills and behaviours to be competent within a specific job role. So we work very closely with our employer partners. We have around about 1,000 employer partners to develop those industry-specific skills to recognise standards. So we will tailor training depending on employer demands. So one organisation fairly recently decided that they need business improvement techniques as part of their provision, and we're in the process of building that in. It could be actually anything from sort of 2 years to 4 years. Alternatively, apprenticeships aren't for everyone, so there will be times when we will work with employers for those bespoke training models and making sure that you as an organisation have your future pipeline identified.
As well as our apprenticeships and our full-time study programs, we do a lot of commercial training. So that could be with international candidates and companies, and obviously UK national companies. We promote specialised training for businesses, so we complete training needs analysis and find out the needs and wants of the business, as well as helping to future-proof their workforces. We also do these within short courses, so anything from 2 to 5 days, within compliance and leadership programs. These are all delivered by our industry experts, tutors, assessors and professionals that come in and discuss certain topics with us. And what we do is, part of these commercial training is we help organisations upskill and stay competitive and relevant in the markets that they're within. So as part of the commercial programme, we create tailored training programmes. So these are where we work with the businesses on custom designing courses that are relevant to their specific business needs. By co-creating these with the employers, we're aligning them to make sure that the workforces of their future and their current are enabling the correct I've lost my train of thought. I'm really sorry, everybody.
It's ensuring that anyone who was within your workforce is actually future-proof. They have the key skills that you need to be successful in your organisation, increase productivity and also improve retention.
And as models of these tailored training programs, we obviously can do the flexible scheduling and formats. So with this, we work with them to identify best times to come in and do the training, whether that be, as we recognise some companies have day shifts and night shifts, or they have working weeks where they could be 3 days on, 3 days off. So we try and schedule this to suit the business needs and also the employee needs. We also use these driving measurable results for organisations. So we actually can show the businesses what programs it is that's going to help them maintain that competitive edge in industry.
With our partnership with employers, we keep touching on this throughout our presentation, but it's all about our strong collaborations. We want to hear from you as organisations what it is that is keeping you up at night. What are the biggest issues that you're facing and what we can do to support that? So whether that's looking at developing brand new courses with awarding organisations to meet your needs, or actually, as Calley said earlier on, whether that's looking at just providing individuals with the skills that they need. We want to hear from you and know what it is that you need to make sure that we are doing our bit as an organisation to support you in that journey. We have employer advisory boards and they're really keen on shaping the training. So whether that's some of our 16 to 18-year-old provision who could be your future pipeline, is there a way that we can tailor that to make sure that they are doing the right element of that programme at the right time? For instance, you may say that communication is integral for your organisation and that should be delivered first. So that is something that we can do with you. We do a lot of joint initiatives to create future-ready workforces. So whether that is through your talent pipeline with our 16 to 18s, giving them a work experience or a work trial so they can identify what that career actually is, Or alternatively, if that's with your existing staff, actually, is there a way that you can create a program for them to show their natural progression, making sure that you're keeping an eye on return on investment and what that impact has for you as an organisation, but also making sure that your staff feel valued and that they want to continue their journey with you. We're supporting regionally, nationally and internationally for the growth of the future to make sure we can meet that demand. We have a significant commitment to green skills and sustainability. We're really, really proud. Actually, we won several awards in the past couple of years, one of them being we were nominated for our finalist for the Beacon Award. We won the Green Gown Awards nationally, and we're one of the finalists at the moment for Next Generation Learning and Skills for green skills and renewable training. Now, I appreciate green is a very grey subject when I say this, because everyone's talking about green, about how it's a niche now and how everyone's jumping on that bandwagon. What does green look like? But actually, from our perspective, it's a necessity. And a lot of jobs, just like AI and digital, you're seeing is actually incorporating that and may replace some roles. In the future, we know that there is going to be significant roles which will have a sustainability edge to it. So we are working with organisations to meet net zero goals. Actually, how can they look at forward planning and succession planning over the next 5 to 10 years, making sure that their workforce is going to meet those needs and those demands? Is there a way that we can build awareness through sustainable business practices, circular economy, looking at lean, is it lean, Six Sigma, any of those sorts of things for you as an organisation to actually give you that competitive edge and preparing industries for that greener future. So in conclusion, just to wrap up from us, we would love you to be a partner with New City College to shape your workforce for tomorrow. We want to explore training opportunities with you for your individuals, but also for businesses. And we would love to be able to invest in skills and invest in success together. So what can we do to build on the skills and shape the future? So we've got any questions, we'll capture at the end. But if you've got any questions at all for us, please feel free to pop them in the chat. And we've got some details on here. So if you'd like to follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or to reach out directly to Calley or us at New City College, we would love to hear from you.
Calley, brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. What a whirlwind tour to New City College. But just before you go, and we have our next speaker, I just want to check with you. So what kind of things at the moment are you doing with international partners or with international students? Have you got many in New City College at the moment?
Yes, so with international partners, we're currently working, evolving around a lot of the green skills. So whether that be solar photovoltaic, battery storage, so the energy efficiency battery storage, the air source heat pumps installation, also solar thermal. We're also looking at retrofit because a lot of the international companies are now homing on to obviously net zero as well, and obviously the green agendas that are coming out in government and obviously as well as our government. We're doing a lot around electric vehicles, which I know a lot of people go, oh, no, electric vehicles. Actually, they are the way forward. And we're doing a lot with EV vehicle maintenance as well. So it's not only about the installation of the batteries, but also how the car works itself.
And then also from an international students perspective, Jonathan, we actually have 2 campuses dedicated just for international students. So whether someone's interested in maybe improving their English skills or actually looking at higher education as an alternative or potentially reskilling, we have 2 campuses specifically that we deliver for international students. But alternatively, with our organisations, it might be that we will actually go out and deliver something on Teams. So some of the work we've been doing is in the United Arab Emirates, Dubai. So we may deliver some training that's online and then be able to actually go and deliver something out on site as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much indeed. Calley and Calley, God, you have two close names just to get me confused, don't you? But brilliant. Great presentation, good scope as well, and lovely to have you on board. Stay around, kick around, because there will be a question and answer section at the end. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Now we're going to move over to Allan O'Neill, who is from SCU Motorsport, just for something a little amazing and very different. So Allan, a very good afternoon and glad you could make it.
Thanks for that introduction. Let's say, I don't know how I'm going to follow the New City College presentation. That was really good. So hopefully I won't disappoint. So my background, I've been working in motorsport sector since I was probably about 8 years old. I've grown up around race cars, building. I've raced myself, got a really good understanding of the sector. As I think there's most people will agree, the UK is the de facto lead in motorsport engineering. Most of the F1 teams are here because of the engineering expertise we have. Motorsport engineering contributes about £8 billion plus to the UK GDP. But we are struggling to get engineers, mechanics with the correct skills, etc., for the motorsport sector. And that is where we come in. So we are developing a full motorsport education program. Part of that will be a race series, and we are developing, our key selling point is this will be the first race series ever to focus on training mechanics and engineers and not drivers. SCU stands for schools, colleges and universities, and what we are trying to do is stimulate individuals within at a very early age to take, first of all, get an interest in engineering. It's something the UK has been really good at in the past. It seems to be waning. We want to provide them with the correct skills that is going to give them jobs and opportunities in the motorsport sector. And what we find is a lot of these skills are transferable. And we've got a big focus on practical skills application and development. And we're also supporting research and development around particularly green schools. And by having a race series, we will provide the students with the opportunity to learn skills in the classroom environment, practice them in a virtual environment, and then apply them in the workshop. And then the leading kind of difference is that we will get them out to a racetrack where they can hone, develop these skills, and we call it reactional engineering. There's things that happen in the motorsport sector that you will only ever experience whilst at a racetrack. And it gets the individuals to think differently and do differently, and they have to react. We call it reactionary engineering. And I will explain the kind of reasons where, the focus on hands-on skills, but also to validate design and research concepts. So we are targeting schools. We want to inspire to get in, creating pathways for them to go from schools into a college environment, hands-on, developing the practical skills. And we've had feedback from a number of Formula One teams who are saying that they're having individuals turn up from, having done university programs, but they've never actually picked a spanner up. So they come to work for a race team, they'll design a component using CAD, but then the individuals who have to fit it, adjust it on the race car, can't get their tools on. So there's a big kind of move to focus on practical skills first. And in the States, in America, we have seen a 180-degree turn from their education sector, where to go and do a degree now, particularly in engineering, they need to do what they call ed tech. So what we've identified the problem. Previously, to get into motorsport, it would be you would work in a traditional garage dealership during the week, and then at the weekend you'd go and help your friend work on his race car and hopefully build up sufficient skills, experience to get yourself noticed and progress through into professional motorsport. Well, according to the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, there's a shortage of over 8,000 skilled mechanics in the motorsport sector, so they're not coming through that route. We also saw a report last year where at the current rates there will be insufficient mechanics to work on electric vehicles by 2030. We know that in motorsport there is a major drive by the world governing body to move towards zero emissions motorsport. We're also seeing, from the skills delivery perspective, we are writing a qualification, but to get that qualification forward, it needs to be validated over a 2-year period before it can be rolled out. What we're seeing is that industry is moving much, much quicker than that. Less than 18 months ago, hydrogen wasn't even on the radar. Yet here we are today. Toyota have a world rally car that's hydrogen powered, direct injection hydrogen into an internal combustion engine. They've got rally raid buggies, which do long distance rallying, which are powered by hydrogen fuel cell. And this all needs to be brought into a motorsport education environment, so they're not only understanding the skills they need to work in motorsport, but also understand that the future is green technology. As I say, our program that we are developing, it's going to be a brand new qualification, which is going to teach relevant skills, new learning and assessment methodologies supporting neurodiverse learners. It's one of the things we've found as we've been doing our research. We're creating a virtual learning environment, which is going to be like a twinned gaming type approach where students can log in, work on a digital version of our race car, and take components apart, see how they work. Then they will work on a real race car, actually in the college workshop. And the final part of the jigsaw is a race series where they'll be able to practice and develop skills relevant for motorsport. So we're going to focus on the 2 areas, the kind of new learning and assessment to support neurodiverse learners, and also the car that we are developing. So in line with the 3D virtual learning environment, we are creating augmented reality sequences, virtual reality learning simulation, where students will, as I said, see our race car and be able to do things just like they would on a real race car. We've been talking to industry experts about particularly the simulation side. So we would have a 3D virtual learning, a 3D virtual model of the car, CAD driven, and students could make adjustments to it, like in a gaming environment, send that race car out on a racetrack. And if it does a virtual lap of a circuit, and when it comes in, if it's quicker than the base time, it's obviously they've done the job correctly, just like a race team, and that's fine. If it isn't quicker, they have to make more adjustments, just like in the real world. Now, we have proven some of these techniques using augmented reality with neurodiverse students at UTC Oxford, but we had a bonus feedback from this where the students, more traditional learners, said they found it more engaging, more interesting, and also easier to learn the concepts. So that for us was a bonus. We are going to introduce instantaneous assessment. We've kind of found that neurodiverse learners find it more difficult to retain knowledge in their long-term memory. So we are going to implement instantaneous assessment while they are doing the modules. We will have pop-ups that will appear on the screen asking them questions, and they will obviously be assessed on that. If they get it wrong, they will have an opportunity to retake the learning and reinforce the learning. But not only that, one of the key things that we find we're getting some excellent feedback on, this learning will be updated into a learning portal. And I'll show you the portal now. This is literally ready to launch. We've got a portal where students will be able to create their own individual profile. It will be out in front of the race teams, the supply chain, etc. So when the student completes a module, it will update, and you can imagine what that's like when you've got a student or the chief engineer at a race team, and they're looking at 3 or 4 different students, all with the same level of understanding in a particular area, let's say like aerodynamics, and this will update instantaneously. So they might be looking at 4 students, one of them passes another module, it will update instantaneously, and that might be the difference between a race team saying, got 4 in front of me, then all of a sudden one demonstrates they've got higher level of achievement, and it will get them in with the race team. So the portal will work both connecting the education side with the race teams, with the supply chain, etc., and promote and support skills development, skills visibility to the motorsport sector. As I say, we've already validated the approach. This is, we were doing race car setup with students at UTC Oxford. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen some of the feedback we've had. We are extremely proud that, first of all, we, as we said previously, found that traditional learners found this approach much more engaging and easier to learn. Neurodiverse students gave us feedback that they found it easier to learn. But we also had 3 students decide to change their career based on the kind of work we were doing with them. So now we're going to look at the car. We describe it as a learning platform. It's intrinsically linked to the qualification to reinforce learning, practical learning. And when I say intrinsically linked, it will be things like the brake module will feature the same components that will be on the physical car, and they will be represented in the qualification. So there's a link between learning. Car itself takes styling cues from the F22 Raptor. It's been described as very sexy. We've had a high number of students. We were at the Autosport show in January, and we had school students coming up, having a look at the car, the artist's impression, asking what it was, how they can get involved. So we're getting really high levels of interest. Our key focus is on the green technology sector. So we are going to design the car so it will be able to be supplied to a college with either hydrogen fuel cell, direct injection hydrogen, full electric, hybrid, and we've even got, we call it the wibbly wobbly class. There will be a class where, that's there for embracing new technology developments. And what it will give for universities, they can do research around new drivetrains, new fueling methods, new propulsion systems, and they can fit it to the car and try it over, a full race season, which is highly competitive and, pushes the drivetrain into a, high performance environment and really test it to the max. So the world governing body of motorsport, the FIA, know what we were doing. They approached us in 2020 and they said what we're doing has the potential to ensure the longevity of motorsport, support the drive for zero emissions, and also promote inclusion. And, if anyone has any questions on any of these areas, we can expand on them after the presentation. As recent as last Thursday, we were approached by an organization in America who are linked to NASCAR, and you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, this is the kind of feedback we are getting. On the right-hand side, these are what we call industry experts. We've got the ex-commercial director of Benetton Formula One team. We've got Willem Todt, who is chief aero, previously for Ferrari, Sauber, Red Bull, and also Braun. And so this is the kind of level of feedback that we are getting from industry experts, which kind of convinces us we are going in the right approach. Our global interest, the long-term plan is to have what we call a World Cup shootout, where we want to see this program. We'll make it available to any country that wants to adopt it. We will run on a franchise basis. We will initially roll out in the UK, but we are already in discussions with, we have a franchise partner who wants to run the program in India, another in Italy, and we came back from Turkey 2 weeks ago, and there is a lot of interest, and we're in early stage discussions with First Step Racing, who want to run and get this program over to Turkey. We've had discussions with America, Canada, Australia. We're in discussions with at the moment to be based at a brand new circuit being developed on the west coast of Australia. We've been, as you probably aware, Formula One is doing a massive job of projecting itself all over the world. It's a force for good in terms of motorsport. However, in countries like Gambia and Sierra Leone, they are wanting to get involved in motorsport and don't have the route. But what we believe we can do, and we've been in discussions with both Gambia and Sierra Leone, we can get this embedded and start teaching individuals about motorsport. But it's more than just motorsport. We're developing the program so it has the potential to stimulate an indigenous motorsport infrastructure in any country that wants to adopt it. So hopefully you've got an idea of what SCU Motorsport is about, what we're doing. There's my contact details. Please feel free to get in touch if you would like any further details about any of the areas we have discussed.
Allan, thank you very much indeed. And interestingly, you've got a program there which obviously in part is in development, but you can see you've done a lot of work on it, and it's obviously a big interest area. And I think maybe unexpectedly, with the evolution of the motor vehicle industry and all of that, there's a lot of extra kind of bandwidth in this now in terms of all the other strands of activity that fall under automotive and associated sectors like engineering and such like. But of course, attracting those in hard to reach places into STEM sectors. So, really great job on doing that. And I'm really hoping that there's some partners or potential partners online, but also in amongst the speakers that will take a look at this and kind of give you more support. So thank you for coming along. I mean, I used to run actually schools programs, and we had 2,000 schools across the UK and across the globe involved in these programs, all kind of built and funded by employers. One for the print industry, the building materials industry. So, these things are a challenge, but they're really important for you to be able to run these programs and get young people involved, but also, mature workers to give back in. So really great program, really pleased that you're around and doing this kind of work. And you should be proud of yourself. It's really good. And I look forward to seeing it overseas, right? I do think there's an opportunity, a bit like the World Skills or the Olympics, to have a kind of shootout program around the world of this kind of thing where schools compete against each other and kids in those schools get really creative on the models that they want and race those cars and things like that. So I think there's a lot to be done with this. And I was going to say, but it sounds a bit corny, a lot of mileage to be got from a program like this.
Well,
so, thank you.
Sorry, go on. Yeah, thank you.
Go. What do you want? Yeah,
so
go on, say.
I mean, like I say, we, from purely a motorsport perspective, we've just come back from Turkey delivering some of the practical modules, and the kind of response we're getting from the race teams over there. They want to see their motorsport sector grow. Like I say, we are getting interest. We're talking to investors in Australia. We just want this now. We're kind of ready to pull the trigger and go.
Good. Okay. Well, hopefully people are hearing that and they will, get in touch with you. Your details are going to be in the presentations, which we'll share at the end of the week with the recording. So well done, Allan. Thank you very much. As with the others, click around till the end of the show. We will have a Q&A session and we will have some questions for you. Next up is Jamie Allan. Jamie is from Forth Valley College up in Scotland. And works around the world. So Jamie, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's our mission at Forth Valley College, is to make the students as employable into their next steps in education or into the workforce. Ultimately, it's all about providing people with employment. So that's our mission. I've been in this job for 1 year. Forth Valley College is revitalizing its world participation as such. So But just to kind of go back down from the globe into Scotland, this is where we're located. We're about 30 minutes between Edinburgh, the capital, and Glasgow, the biggest city. So bang in the middle of Scotland, and a great location for those wishing to visit or study or train here. What we have in terms of the campuses, we have 3 state-of-the-art campuses, no more than sort of 14 years old. Forth Valley College was the first regional college in 2005 after a merger of a few local institutions, but the oldest part of our group goes back 60 years in terms of heritage, so a lot of expertise. And we're located in this cluster near the Forth River that goes out into the North Sea, which is a very industrial area full of renewables, oil and gas refining, manufacturing, engineering, and wider sectors, which I'll come into. But each of our campuses is equipped and focused on specific areas of specialism that we have. One is health and social care. The other is creative industries, digital, hospitality and tourism. We have a training restaurant on the Stirling campus there. And then Falkirk, our newest and our biggest campus, is very much our energy, STEM and construction focused areas. So some unique equipment there includes a virtual control room, a miniature oil and gas refinery, and a full distillation plant. So again, fantastically unique facilities that are available there. In terms of where we provide qualifications for our students, we start down at about level 5 on this framework. And this framework, I should say, is one which, no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to map as a student, obviously, and if you have prior learning, where your qualifications equate to in the Scottish framework. But we start basically at about high school age qualifications, all the way up to honours degree, which is basically a master's degree in Scotland. We do 4-year degrees typically, compared to 3-year degrees in the rest of the UK. As a college itself, we've got around 13,000 students, which is a mix of full-time, part-time, evening and online learners. Over 750 different types of qualification and hundreds of different subjects. As I mentioned, those 4 areas of specialism, but also reaching into business, sport, hair and beauty, electrical, plumbing, welding, everything in between. So a full range of options for students there. We're fantastic at modern apprentices. One of the highest numbers in the UK each year at about 1,100, but also really good at high school engagement. So we make sure that all 18 high schools in the Forth Valley area come into the college, and for 2 afternoons each week, they undertake some courses and qualifications, and lets those high school students experience the college environment and also be exposed to different types of career opportunities that they normally would not have been exposed to in high school. So it's a fantastic way of gaining a qualification, but seeing the college environment to potentially choose to study in. We have articulation agreements with all the universities in Scotland, which means that we are able to provide a pathway for studying a college qualification to then progress into a degree. But we also have the 2+2 degrees with 7 of the universities in Scotland, where you actually study the first 2 years of the degree in the college campus, and then you finish the final 2 years at the university campus. So that provides, for the first 2 years, not only cheaper fees as a college student, which are only £8,000 a year, but you also have 3 meals a day for free, and you're also able to have smaller class sizes for those students who need more support before ending up at university. And one university partner actually provides free accommodation for the 2+2 degree, which is amazing to break down that barrier and that worry that students have going to a different city to study. We also provide professional qualifications with the CMI and the CIPD. And recently we won an internationalisation award from the UK Centre of Engineering Education and Development. But as Jonathan is flying the flag for the government here, I wondered if he knew that we were one of the first UK colleges to be STEM assured, accredited by the UK government, which reflects our standing in the STEM sector, which is great to see. Now we kind of go into a little bit more detail. So recently we've opened a renewable and energy efficiency training centre, as well as a health and social care skills simulation suite. Again, always investing in those industry standard facilities that they tell us we need to make sure the students are equipped with the latest skills and training. We were in Saudi, again with Jonathan, on the UK government skills mission, which was a fantastic experience, everything going on there. Hospitality, computing, we're top in Scotland for, as well as the other specialisms. But this is a great indicator of where colleges and TVETs sit alongside universities. We conducted a new audit process. We were part of that. And we were the first college to go through that alongside St Andrews University, who were the first university. And during this audit process, we both achieved the same top ranking, which shows that no matter which path you choose, where you choose to study, you'll receive the same excellence, which is, again, great to see. I'll kind of skip on, but basically the main figure here that I think is great to shout about is that 97% of students at Forth Valley go on to further study or employment. So, hopefully we're doing something right. The industry engagement we have is absolutely critical, and I'll get to why that is. But there's a range of small local businesses all the way up to blue chip multinationals across the range of sectors. But that key industry engagement is extremely important. And the reason for that is because we're very much an industry-led college. So we will invest in equipment and facilities. We'll design courses and curricula around what industry tells us they expect to see the students equipped with from their skills and training. And that's something we're really focused on, to make sure that those relationships with industry are very, very close and we're working together collaboratively. But some of the stuff going on, we have the Green Freeport, which is a big new tax-free regional hub for industry to come into Scotland, set up their business and benefit from tax incentives. So this is looking to create 10,000 new jobs in the area as they move away from oil and gas into renewables and hydrogen and other cleaner industries. So we're a key part of that UK government project. We also have the new Skills Transition Centre I mentioned, which again is looking at the transition to net zero for the local and regional supply chain. That centre is equipped with drones, robotics, bioreactor, volumetric camera, immersive classrooms, which means we can film or actually live present a lecture in a location in Scotland and have it transmitted to anywhere in the world. There's some cool hologram stuff going on as well. So that's something which over the next 10 years is going to be really key to our international partnerships. We also have, in terms of our sustainability credentials, evidenced by Scotland's International Environment Centre at our Alavoine campus. And we've got the first tripartite relationship between a college, a university and our national health provider in terms of making sure that we have this joined up training and approach to making sure that, again, no matter which occupation you choose to study or which institution you go to, the end employer is part of that collaboration, making sure that the students are provided with a pathway and given that opportunity to reach their end destination as well equipped as possible. But what I wanted to do first of all was talk about one of the clearest examples of how we demonstrate excellence in manufacturing and engineering, which is our long-standing and multifaceted partnership with Babcock International, who are one of the UK's most significant engineering and defence companies. So at the Falkirk campus, we're proud to host one of the UK's largest intakes of engineering modern apprentices. Earlier this year, more than 90 new apprentices began their training with us, joining hundreds of others already engaged on programmes designed to develop the specialist skills that Scotland and the UK's advanced manufacturing sector relies upon. So these range from precision machining and fabrication to electrical systems and mechanical engineering, all taught in facilities designed to meet the highest standards of industry. Our investment in innovation is central to this. For example, we've recently invested in a number of the VR welding technology kits, giving apprentices access to simulated welding environments that improve their skills acquisition and safety, also cutting down on waste material whilst preparing learners to work with the latest digital tools transforming the sector. We found the feedback from Babcock was that the hand and technical skills the apprentices had using this equipment first meant that they were better equipped to then go into the real machines. But the partnership also has an international dimension. So through Babcock's Apprentice Exchange programme, we've supported apprentices from Scotland to engage with their counterparts in Poland, hosting visiting students from Poland and giving them first-hand experience of the technical training environment we have, reflecting the strength of the provision and the recognition beyond the UK. And that demonstrates our value proposition. Sorry, moving my mouse. The value proposition going far beyond classroom delivery, being a trusted partner for world-leading companies, delivering innovative training solutions that build resilient, highly skilled workforces capable of contributing to safety-critical advanced engineering sectors in the UK and internationally. And in terms of another quick case study, I can't see Jonathan, so I don't know how I'm doing for time, but the excellence in manufacturing is not only traditional engineering, but also extending into industries of the future, where Scotland and the UK are building a reputation for sustainable innovation. So a prime example is our role as a launchpad partner in the Industrial Biotechnology Innovation Centre's Bio-Based Manufacturing Growth Programme. This national initiative supports SMEs to scale up bio-based manufacturing, helping them bridge the skills gap, accelerate innovation, and commercialise low-carbon products ranging from bio-based materials to sustainable chemicals. Our contribution is central to this. We provide companies with access to our specialist laboratories, technical expertise and training capacity, ensuring they have skilled people that they need to turn breakthrough research into viable market-ready solutions. By doing so, we demonstrate we're not only a training provider, but also an innovation partner, embedding skills at the very heart of industrial transformation. This has attracted international interest. We recently hosted a visit from a German college where we had an industry speaker alongside our academic teams, demonstrating the alignment between curriculum, industry and the broader innovation ecosystem, and again showing how we're future focused in different areas of manufacturing. But together with these partnerships and the breadth of our manufacturing excellence, underlines our role as one of the UK's leading TVET institutions, agile, innovative and trusted by industry partners across the globe. So where we can help, I won't go through all of this because if you're interested, please read the presentations next week and get in touch. But it's everything that you could hopefully require from an international partner. And again, just some examples there that we're very, very keen to support with and absolutely open for business on. But in terms of these videos, again, I've just put them there so you can watch them when you download the presentation next week. And examples of current international work, which I definitely did not add to this presentation during the others. But for some examples, was a BP, the oil and gas company. We ran their Senegal and Mauritania National Technician Programme, which is a world first remote assessment of an NVQ. A fantastic project, not only training bachelor's and PhD engineering students at our facilities, but also then helping them access higher paid jobs to then help their families in the area too, which is fantastic. We have a British Council South Africa Global Skills Partnership project due to start in the coming months. Angola, Saudi, Kenya, Mauritius, there's a whole list there, which again you can read in your leisure, but we're very much plugged in internationally and looking to share our expertise and knowledge and collaborate and learn from partners internationally too. That's my details again. We've launched a new strategy, which again is very much focused on getting back onto the global stage since COVID. But yeah, hopefully that is everything. Jonathan, have I been under time, overtime? I'm scared to ask.
You're worse than me. You're never under time, but I allowed you to go on because it was so interesting, and I'm sure everyone would want to hear it. And because as well, right, Jamie, you know, Forth Valley is re-emerging, shall we say, and you've done a brilliant job of putting it back on the world stage. Everyone would have wanted to hear all about that, and we love that Scotland has colleges that are really stepping up and kind of stepping out. So thank you so much indeed. I love working with you. I love working with the college. As you know, I know your college of many years, and so it's really good to see this re-emergence happening and across so many different industry sectors. I mean, you know, we talk to a lot of people, but there are not many that are so entrenched in industry sectors as you are and able to apply that around the globe. So, you know, hat off to you. There's a lot of partnership opportunity to be had. So get in touch with Jamie, everybody. He is the man to be talking to about activity in Scotland. So well done, Jamie.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Moving on, though, as interesting as that is, we are moving on to Neil Smith, who is with Cogent Skills up in Warrington. I think you're still based up there, Neil, if you're still around. Or have you fallen asleep?
That's right, yeah. Offices in Warrington and up in the northeast of England in Newton Aycliffe, which not many people know where that is, but up near Middlesbrough.
No, God,
Okay.
I almost sound like I know what I'm talking about. Lovely to have you with us, Neil. And load up your presentation. All over to you.
Good afternoon. So a little bit about Cogent Skills. As you can see on the slide, Cogent Skills is a not-for-profit business. We're involved in developing training standards and qualifications for science-based industries and work in partnership with employers and stakeholders across a range of different industries. I'm Neil Smith. I've worked with Cogent Skills for 17 years, formerly as the head of commercial training and consultancy. And since 2010, I've been a member of the UK's Process Safety Management Competence Programme Board, which is a bit of a mouthful. And for the last 2 years, since I semi-retired, I've been an associate consultant continuing that work. My main focus since 2010 has been helping businesses understand how they can improve their process safety culture and performance by securing leadership commitment to process safety, and demonstrating how they can achieve this by adopting our training standards as a model of good practice across all levels of the business. In parallel, we also help them to identify how they can sustain this sort of improved performance with a more targeted and very practical approach to competence management, which is of great interest to the Health and Safety Executive and what's known in the UK as the Competent Authority that look at major hazard industries. So they focus on their risks to their business and their most important safety critical tasks. If you're not familiar with process safety, this is concerned with the systems and controls required to manage hazardous processes and materials across a range of industry sectors, which, if they're not managed correctly, could result in really catastrophic incidents and a major loss of life or significant harm to the environment and ecosystems. Historically, we've associated this with chemicals and petrochemicals, but this equally applies to food and drink manufacturing, particularly distilleries, fast-moving consumer goods, energy and utilities companies, steel and fine metals manufacturing, mining, major infrastructure projects, nuclear new build and decommissioning. So this should not be confused with occupational safety or personal safety. I'm going to talk today mainly about our work in developing those process safety training standards and managing good process safety training delivery, and how we've helped businesses around the globe to develop and embed a clear understanding of their major accident hazards and how that can help improve their leadership commitment, workforce involvement and their safety performance. For Cogent Skills, our involvement began as a result of a major explosion in the United Kingdom in 2005 at a petrochemical storage facility called Buncefield. In this case, miraculously, no lives were lost, but only because the incident occurred in the middle of the night and at the weekend. I'm not going to go into details in any of the following examples, but Buncefield was the biggest peacetime explosion in Europe since the Second World War. though regrettably, as you're about to see, it's not an isolated incident. Why do we need this framework? You'll see a list appearing in front of you. I'm only going back 50 years here, and this is not an exhaustive list. It's just a snapshot of the types of things that have happened, but it includes a range of catastrophic incidents from across the globe and in different industry sectors, where the common denominators were either a lack of awareness or a lack of understanding of the potential for a catastrophic incident to occur, or a lack of leadership commitment to ensure the right systems and controls to manage those major accident hazards were in place and that they were operating as they should be. Our primary aim in Cogent Skills is to educate businesses by helping them learn lessons from past incidents. So I'm just using this as an example to highlight the importance of this. You'll see at the bottom of the screen 2 separate incidents that occurred within 2 separate companies in the same industry sector, in the same city in India in 2024 and 2025, with significant loss of life, where regrettably lessons weren't learned, and very often they're not learned quickly enough. The Buntsfield explosion was a major wake-up call for UK industries. There was a very big court case and significant fines were issued. And following the court case, 3 very simple questions were asked by the director from the Health and Safety Executive who's in charge of the investigation. He asked, do employers understand what can go wrong when they've got major accident hazards? Do they know that what their systems are to prevent those accidents from happening? And do they have the information to assure themselves that they're working effectively? These simple questions have been adopted across the globe as a vital checklist for senior leaders in hazardous industries, and they're really well known now. But Cogent Skills is a skills body, and we're particularly focused on workforce competence. So I'd like to add to those, is everyone who needs to know this fully aware? Do they have the right knowledge? Do we know that our people are fully competent, and are we doing the right things to ensure that people are competent, not just trained? And are we assuring ourselves that our people remain aware and fully competent? In other words, that the right culture and behaviours are embedded into the organisation. So what's Cogent's role? Following Buntsfield, UK senior leaders from a range of industries and trade associations and trade union representatives and the UK's regulatory bodies came together and agreed a set of guiding principles that should be adopted by senior leaders in major hazard industries. Senior leaders from the science-based industries that we worked with concluded that even though they had technical experts and process safety professionals within their business, or that they could call on, they acknowledged that senior executives themselves didn't have enough awareness, knowledge, or understanding of the systems and controls required to manage those major accident hazards. And they needed to have some sort of independent guidance on what training they should take and what would be fit for purpose. As a result, we established the Process Safety Management Competence Programme Board, which is an independent body, independent from Cogent Skills and chaired by an industry representative. And we created process safety training standards for senior executives, managers and operators to help businesses answer those 3 important questions. When designing the training standards, employers were, however, really clear that they didn't want to take an academic approach to this training. They wanted engaging, participative training that would really make them and their employees think about the hazards, their roles, their personal impact, and on how they would help to control those hazards and how they can all contribute to improving the safety performance. They also wanted to be assured that the same messages were received across all levels of the business, so employees could gain a common understanding and communicate more effectively, whether that was senior executives walking the floor and talking to operators about the systems and controls that they had in place, or the most junior employees having the confidence to report a near miss or a potential accident to their line manager. In other words, that there's a positive and constructive approach to building the right process safety culture and behaviours into their business. So you'll see in this framework, the process safety training standards framework covers a set of common topics. So the same things are being discussed, whether you're a leader, a manager, or an operator. With senior leaders focusing more on how they can influence process safety performance. They're the ones that set the direction and actually create the opportunity for the culture to develop. They influence process safety performance, and the people that are most likely to witness a potential incident or near miss are the managers and operators. So they have an additional focus on how to apply learning from incidents that may have occurred in other industries or businesses, so that they can avoid those incidents from happening in their own business. A copy of this framework will be provided with the handouts, so you can look at that in more detail if you wish. Unsurprisingly, since the programme started in 2010, our delivery methods have evolved from primarily PowerPoints and chalk and talk training, and increasingly we've been asked to develop bespoke versions of the training materials to target specific safety management systems used, the materials or hazards relevant to a particular organisation or business, the hazards, risks and controls associated with that individual company, but still rigorously maintaining that link back to the training standards to ensure that the training still meets the original specification within that process safety management framework. We still obviously deliver training face-to-face wherever practical, but increasingly as societal and more importantly as employer and employee experience in and confidence in web-based meetings and training has grown, following on from the big uptick in that during and following the COVID pandemic. Training is now often delivered through blended learning by teams and often in a more modular format, and that actually allows greater flexibility, particularly giving the opportunity to release operational personnel for shorter periods of time to undertake that training. So over the past 15 years, the reach of the programme, the range of the industry sectors and the locations where training has been delivered have increased beyond all expectations. We've translated materials into Dutch, English, Finnish, French, German, Hindi, Japanese, Chinese, Macedonian, Mexican, Spanish, Polish, Russian and Swedish. Obviously, we've reached far beyond the UK and its chemical and petrochemical sector to include multinational businesses on all continents, and the training has been delivered to over 26,000 individuals. We've trained process safety site champions to deliver training in their mother tongue in many different countries, and allowed businesses to take that training in-house through flexible licensing agreements. The programme continues to serve its intended purpose to raise awareness and understanding of the potential for major accident hazards on the lives of employers and employees, their families and local communities, and the importance of developing and maintaining that right safety culture and behaviours so that they answer the three questions. They can understand what can go wrong. They know that their systems are in place and that can prevent that from happening. And they have the information to assure themselves that they're working effectively. So as we've continued to share the process safety framework and engage with different employers and industry sectors, additional training requirements closely linked to the process safety framework have emerged, and we developed a range of complementary courses to meet these needs. A sample of these are highlighted here, and Cogent Skills also works with employers to apply best practice and instructional design and develop blended learning materials based on employers' own learning materials or new specific training needs. Finally, over the past few years, whilst we continue to promote this best practice model and deliver against the process safety training standards, we also now offer a range of accredited qualifications, which we've supported, and many of which we've supported the development of, and some of which link back to the process safety framework, to help employers and employees build up their knowledge and understanding and the capability needed to manage those hazards. So that's me. Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions in the Q&A session later, or if you want to contact us or arrange a meeting, the details are found on the final slide.
Neil, thank you so much indeed. Nobody will know this, but Neil and I go way, way back in the days of sector skills councils and national skills academies here in the UK. And so before we all went live, we were kind of taking a stroll down amnesia lane. And what's interesting about what you've just presented, Neil, apart from the scale and scope and the reach that you've got, is really, you know, out of disasters, a bit like phoenixes, you know, great things come. And whilst it's always tragic at that time, you know, the avoidance for future use and the skills that are applicable right across many industries. I mean, you're looking at, you know, petrochemicals and all that, but actually this stuff applies in any manufacturing situation, any process situation, and it's available globally. And you just demonstrated all of that. So really, you know, great to see you again, but thank you more than ever for showcasing that. And I have no doubt we'll have some questions for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Moving on, another, I'm going to say this carefully because she'll hit me later, old friend. So Nicola Dolan and Paul Higgins from EAL, otherwise known as Enginuity Group. Brilliant group, been around for a long time, Sector Skills Council as well, you know, so we all have a kind of interwoven history. So great to have you on board, and thank you both for coming along. Over to you.
Hello everyone, I hope that everyone's well. By way of an introduction, I'm Nick Dolan, Associate Director of Enginuity Charity Operations and Impact, and I'm here today with my colleague Paul Higgins, who is International Development Manager from EAL. And we're here to share with you a brief intro into the Enginuity Group and our services and solutions. But before I explain sort of who we are and what we do, I wanted to ask each of you to sort of take a minute and pause and think for a second. When was the last time you noticed the engineering behind your day-to-day business as usual, I suppose? You know, the homes we live in, the travel, the transport that we use to travel, the technology that we use to power our lives, the desk that we're all probably sat on now, absolutely everything around us has been designed and built by engineers, and they're often that invisible force which really drives productivity, innovation, and economic growth across the world. So it's absolutely critical, I suppose, that as an organisation and as a charity, and we'll go into who we are a little bit more, that we recognise the power of engineering, innovation, and engineers.
So Nick, thanks for that as well, and just agreeing with all the points that you've just been talking about. So if we take the point that we've noticed that we are in an engineering world, it is present, it is evolving. It also, from my perspective, requires a new generation of a skilled workforce. And this is where Enginuity and EAL really come in. You know, we stand and work with our trusted global partners, helping to shape a sustainable workforce with the mastery of skills for tomorrow's world that we need. So thank you just for the opportunity to share a bit of insight to what we get involved with. Nick, is it good perhaps then to discuss some of the data-driven elements of what we want to talk about today?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that data has to drive everything that we do. And I think our heritage as well is important that we emphasise here. So as Jonathan mentioned, Enginuity has been around for a while, but in many guises. So our heritage is long-standing, and I think it dates back to the 1960s when the UK established the first engineering industry training board to address the national skills crisis in the engineering and manufacturing sector. And I think then we've evolved over the years. So in the early 2000s, we became the Sector Skills Council for Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering, and we were previously known as SEMPTA, so many of you may know us under that name. And in 1996, we launched EAL, which is our specialist awarding organisation for engineering and manufacturing. So today, Enginuity remains a not-for-profit, a skills organisation which is supporting the engineering and manufacturing sector in the UK and overseas. And we very much now focus on harnessing the power of data and skills and industry knowledge, and harnessing partnerships as well to solve some of the workforce challenges that the sector is facing today. I like to describe us as a sector connector, I suppose. We do very much specialise in fostering those partnerships and creating an environment and solutions which link employers with educators, with industry, with government and learners, so that we can create real impact and support the sector to be not just productive, but to really thrive. And I think one of the key things that we recognise in all of the work that we do is that we can't solve the skills crisis and the skills gap in a vacuum. So we need all of these stakeholders to come together to be able to create a fit for purpose solution which supports the sector.
Mm-hmm. And Nick, I think in balance as well, when I look at it from EL's perspective as a specialist awarding organisation, developing the qualifications for engineering, manufacturing, building services and related sectors, our qualifications are designed at the highest technical standards and reflecting our ever-changing industry and regulated needs with rigorous industry design qualifications with an international recognition. Through our work and our service, we provide, which we can, explain a little bit more shortly with some other slides that we've got. But supporting industry bodies, educators, SMEs, government agencies, learners, and employers, uniting basically for driving excellence together, better together. So really, our solutions are developed in the UK and internationally, providing support for international partners in the EU, South Asia, Middle East, India and Jamaica going forward. I suppose at that point, probably be good then just to look about our mission statement, Nick. I just wonder if you could just take us through that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at a really sort of simple macro level, it's to ensure that people have the right skills at the right time to keep up with those changing technologies and industry needs. We like to think that we create impact through partnerships, like I referenced earlier, and we do that by representing employers, whether that be in policy discussions, creating or reviewing national occupational standards or apprenticeship services, developing qualifications and training, and delivering what we would call maybe sort of bespoke initiatives or projects which help address some specific challenges and needs which either a specific country or a specific sector is facing. And I think that one of the core things that we like to ensure that we embed in any of the projects that we work on, really the solutions that we offer, is sustainability. And I think that by working with educators, by working with training providers and employers and engineers and industry, placing them at the centre of the skills solutions we develop in our work, we design products and services that are fit for purpose and deliver the desired output, but equally allow our partners to achieve long-term self-sufficiency. So there doesn't have to be that reliance on organisations like ourselves in the future. You can really sort of thrive in your own sort of country or in your own organisation to be able to continue the work that we can support you to deliver. And I think what's really, again, quite important that we emphasise is we have our traditional, products and services that we've just referenced earlier, your national occupational standards you develop, our qualifications, our quality assurance. But we also like to think that we deliver quite innovative digital solutions and as well, whether that be through our award-winning skills minor game. So we developed a digital tool to attract young people into the sector, and that's mapped to the UK curriculum, and that's aimed at how do we attract new young talent into the sector? How do we open their minds and demonstrate what a career in engineering may be? Or whether that be through some of our more traditional sort of digital tools as well, such as our skills comparator and role explorer, and their aim there is to support that upskilling and reskilling initiative. So what skills have I got currently, and what skills can be mapped to future roles which we know that the industry needs moving forward. And like I mentioned there, we have our traditional products and services as well, which we'll focus on shortly. And I think the real important thing that's come across in a few presentations here is we want to ensure that we champion equity and access of opportunities and ensure we can support a more diverse pipeline of talent entering the engineering and manufacturing sector. So whether that be, encouraging more women into the sector, or people who, who are neurodiverse, or even those career switchers or career returners, or even ex-offenders as well. I think we've talked about that in the chat as well. We're looking at ways in which we can support a more diverse talent pipeline there. Well, one of the things that's important for us to emphasise is the impact of what we've achieved so far. And this is only a little bit of a glimpse into the tangible impact that we have delivered across the Enginuity group. Over the last 4 years alone, we have developed national occupational standards for engineering and manufacturing, and we certificated over 13,000 apprentices against those standards, and that equates to over £262 million in salaries being generated, which is quite a big achievement there. And referencing our digital products and tools, we've had over 185,000 users, with 75% of those identifying and demonstrating to us that they've got a better understanding of careers in the sector, and we've helped them in attracting new talent, but also helped individuals and supported organisations in their upskilling and reskilling challenges as well.
And I think, Nick, from my perspective as well, it's how we look at how do we differentiate ourselves in the market space. And one of the things I just really want to bring to the fore as well is that EL has reinvested over 29 million through our parent charity, as you've just been articulating, so we can actually empower, looking at how new solutions you've just been talking about, whether it's digital, but really focusing on how do we close the skills gaps, faced by employers and by the sector. And I think equally, just as a measure of impact, is that through our industry leading qualifications, the skills programs, we've supported over 1.3 million learners in the last 10 years. So from my perspective, it's about the impact to industry, to the sector, to employers, and really then how do we actually take that forward when we're looking at it pretty much really from a solutions perspective. And so I think from my point of view, it would be good perhaps just to touch on a few of our sort of services here, Nick.
Yeah, definitely. And so we've got on here sort of a wheelhouse, I suppose, of our products and services that are available across the Enginuity group through the charity and also EL. I think what's important for us to emphasise here is that our services and solutions can be really tailored and flexible to support individual partners, whether that be an industry or an employer, an education provider, or a government body. We can provide a bespoke service, I suppose, to meet your desired needs at every stage of the skills value chain. So we offer a comprehensive suite of solutions, and as you can see there, we've got a range of those on our wheelhouse, so I won't go through them in detail, but just to pick up a few, we are data driven at Enginuity. So labour market intelligence, research and insight is absolutely core to what we do. We need to understand the future skills needs so that we can address them and support in the development of solutions to overcome that. So labour market intelligence is absolutely core to what we do, as is strategic workforce planning. So we can support companies on an individual basis or work with industry representative organisations to help develop sort of strategic workforce planning solutions, whether that be looking at how do you attract talent, how do you develop talent, whether that be through upskilling, reskilling, how do you retain that talent as well in country, and how equally do you ensure that you've consistently got a talent pipeline coming through. And Paul, I know that EL have got a range of services as well, which are more focused around sort of curriculum and qualification design. And if you could just summarise that, I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Neil. And I think that, again, just to pick up a couple of elements too, because you just obviously talked about bespoke and relevancy as well. So I think when we look at the curriculum, the qualification design, it's very much, so we say, staying with industry relevant. So every qualification designed, in development with direct input from the industry sectors. And perhaps another thing that I was also thinking about as well is that, the training delivery, as well as having the information, is making it very much the practical application, working with employers and training providers and colleges throughout. But equally as well, I think, when I think about it from an international perspective, what we're doing is raising the benchmark in technical education, from an international recognition. So what we're also then developing is then a very much an equitable element of international mobile workforce, because of that standardization. It's very transferable around the globe. So really focusing on the quality, the recognition, and the opportunity that actually can create for individuals and for businesses alike.
And I think that one of the things we spoke about a lot today is, the transition towards net zero, and obviously it goes without saying, developing the right skills to embrace that is more important than ever. So we wanted to share with you a little bit of a case study to demonstrate our work in action. So I'm going to ask Paul to showcase how Enginuity and EL have worked together to address some of the skills needs for battery manufacturing to support sustainability of the industry.
Yeah, thanks, Nick, for that. Yeah, so I think this is probably a really most relevant and a great example of our impact in partnership with the UK Battery Industrialisation Centre over at Coventry. Very much about the UK battery industry. Yeah, as you can see, that there is massive potential. 500,000 skilled workers required by 2040. But what do we do now, to address that? And I think what's been really forefront of this is that EL is obviously partnered with UK BIC and to create the very first level 2 award in battery manufacturing, which again has been very much hands-on, industry-led curriculum, and also what we've noticed that there's been a high adoption rate now with this, with the technical colleges. So, creating those pathways for young people, engaging for reskilling of existing employees, supporting the sector growth, and obviously being backed by government, industry leaders, demonstrating how Enginuity Group responds rapidly to what I see as a critical industry need, a critical infrastructure coming forward. So these partners, as I say, are critical because they guarantee that the qualifications are relevant, they're up to date, and they're aligned with the actual workforce requirements. So when we talk about what we're doing, obviously just to give a bit of evidence, but I'm going to give you a little bit more of an insight as well, because it doesn't just stop there with our relationships. So what we are also building on the level 2 now, with the real life examples of operational life at UK BIC, we're also embarking on now 4 other additional compliance-based qualifications for the sector, because we saw the stats there, but equally by 2030, we need 4 of these gigafactory developments to be online. So we need to address those needs now, and that's what we're doing. So that's one idea, obviously, from a UK case study. Nick, just wondered perhaps it'd be a good opportunity to perhaps look at an international case study. Could I leave you with that one, please?
I think one of our flagship initiatives, which we're really proud of supporting, and I think, Jonathan, you'll be aware of that, and that was our project and partnership with Oman, and the Ministry of Manpower and the Omani Society of Petroleum Services as well. So this sort of demonstrates how Enginuity and EL can sort of provide that end-to-end suite of services to support a skills value chain in country. And so pre-COVID, we worked with the Omani Ministry of Manpower and all industry partners to develop what we feel is sort of a world-class strategy to support the growth of in-country talent and skills productivity. So we developed everything from national occupational standards, so there were 7 of those, that we covered over 40 job roles, 300 functional units, and we developed the apprenticeship frameworks as well, which supported them. Then we worked with the training providers and centres in country to quality assure them, to ensure that they could provide that service provision and training in country. And we're delighted, that as a result of this, the Omani oil and gas sector now are developing a clear set of industry-driven standards, improve that quality of training, and a boosted employer confidence and productivity in the sector. And OPAL have continued now to serve as our single umbrella body, sort of unifying the development and agreement of all those sector standards and competency frameworks, ensuring that consistency of service delivery, consistency of quality, and enabling a future-ready Omani workforce aligned with those international priorities. And I think Paul's going out there very shortly to revisit some of our training providers there. So really quickly, in the spirit of wrapping up, Paul.
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah, thank you very much for that. So just very quickly, I think it's so important that we have open collaboration. So one initiative that we're bringing forward as well is a community effort, which is an open collaboration, which is open to everybody to build, obviously, future skills and best practice and sharing best practice in a forum. I will be travelling out to Oman in November to listen to government and to the sector out there on many levels. If anyone is based in Oman, you've got my contact details. Love to meet with you in person. And equally, any other ideas that you want to share with us, we would love to build that with you, and our contact details are in the chat accordingly.
I just want to touch on a point you raised right at the beginning about being a charity and not for profit. And of course, no charity is not for profit. You all, what you do overseas is for profit. I just didn't want to get that confused where people think charity means free. Whatever you're doing, has to wash its face and be financially sustainable. So just because you obviously, the difference is that as charities, just like many other organisations throughout SkillsFest, they're all charities. But what they do is they reinvest those funds into more training and skills development rather than actually share it with shareholders. And I think that's the key point I just wanted to make, just so that people don't get confused.
No, thank you, Jonathan. That's really important clarification.
But really good to have you both here. We love Enginuity and EAL. Been working with you for far too many years that my age shows. So brilliant to have you both here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, all.
Thank you so much.
Moving on, though, we must go to Rachel Bunn over at East Coast College. Rachel, are you still there, please?
Welcome, everybody. I'm Rachel from East Coast College. Currently sunny, which is quite unheard of on the east coast of the UK at the moment, but we're enjoying the sun. So the angle I want to kind of take today is not kind of celebrating all of the good stuff we do as an FE college. It's more about the other stuff we do, which not only makes us sustainable as a college, but also makes sure that we can actually support employer needs and look at growth and different funding streams. So kind of focusing on today our Energy Skills Centre, which is in Lowestoft. We were lucky enough to have over £11 million worth of investment from what was then the Local Enterprise Partnership Growth Fund and also the college. And that was opened in late 2019, just before the dreaded COVID. But it was probably easily 10 years in the making, because what we didn't want to do is jump too early around green skills. We needed to make sure that there was the investment in region, that we could work with employers around the skills need, and it was timely, because there's nothing worse than a training provider jumping too early, because it not only costs you money and time, but things evolve all of the time in the sector. So it was really working out about the timings that actually that footprint of energy skills blossomed at the same time as the sector blossomed. So the Energy Skills is a commercial skills building within our college campus. So to give you a bit of context, our FE campus is around 3,000 full-time students, 5,500 part and full-time adults with apprentices and degrees as well. But the Energy Skills Centre is sold and operates as a commercial entity, so it is its own subsidiary company. It is designed around the needs of the energy, engineering, maritime and offshore sectors, but it's evolving all the time. So with regional projects such as Sizewell C, we're now evolving to look at the civil engineering phase of a new build for nuclear, for example. So our curriculum evolves all the time with need and is constantly exploring new training. So we're now offering hybrid car charging, decarbonisation. We also work with awarding bodies. So we're doing a lot of work with the PETO around some of the international short courses. For example, introduction to wind, carbon capture and hydrogen. So the college isn't an ordinary college because of all the funding streams that we traditionally go above and beyond just that reliance on. We lessons learned over time actually about what works, what doesn't. But the energy skills isn't just about training people in East Anglia and maybe some national across the UK. It's also the work we do internationally as well. We've been allowed to do that because we can be creative and resilient as a company, but it's also the fantastic resources we have will pull people from across the world to be accessing our training because it's responsive, it's up to date, and it also meets their needs. So a lot of the training we provide is awarding body accredited, but there's also some bespoke as well, where we know actually there's not a qualification that currently exists. So we do a lot around our energy and maritime. We offer up to master's level with maritime courses. So a lot of people come across on a study visa to get that chief mates and officer of the watches training. But it also may be short courses for 2 to 5 days where actually they're coming across to learn about good practice from the UK, but also share that practice. So as I've already touched on, it's supporting local to international. It's around the green skills, it's around training needs. So our centre not only welcomes current regional employers, but also ones that actually come to us going, can you help us with this? It's really bespoke. Innovation part of it is actually the building is driven by partnership with employers. So again, it's a building on a college campus driven by sector. So it's about meeting those training needs and utilising our resources. So as you can see, the 2 images on the screen, we've got a working at height area, but that also transforms into an escape room where we bring young people through from school all the way through to adult retrainers, but also people that are working in the sector where we want to test them outside their comfort zone and test them in different scenarios that don't relate to their mandatory training. We've got our sea survival pool, which is quite unique for the UK. It's actually 5 metres deep. But again, it's about Challenge East programmes. You don't have to work in the offshore industry to access that training facility to upskill your workforce. So already touched on the maritime training provision. So it is that international. It's because of the staff that we've evolved and trained. It's the industry we work with and also our resources. So we've actually invested over £1 million just in our bridge simulator resources. So again, we can have any port in the world. It's quite nice if you want a stress-free afternoon that you can go on holiday in a room and then come back out and go to work. But again, it's the ability to do different. So it's not just running a course, it's what else can we use our specialist resources to do? So a couple of examples of bespoke. We've had delegates from Ghana over every roughly 6 months to do emergency response training because of our staff skill set, but also the ability to do different. So it's not just the normal package, it's sitting down with the company beforehand going, what lessons learned? What do you want to try and test with your delegates? How can we support you to be the best that you can be? It's also about flexibility. So it's our staff going out on site, not just expecting candidates to come to us. It doesn't always work expecting people to come to the training site. So actually flipping it around, going, we can bring the resource and the training to you, does meet quite a lot of employer needs. We're now doing pilot training. So there was sadly a fatality with pilots doing transfer onto boats. So we've now invested £15,000 on a 12-foot ladder, which sounds really boring, but it's quite exciting to meet those needs because nowhere else was looking at actually where is there a gap in the market. So we also do bespoke. So it's not just about training. So for the last couple of years, RWE, the offshore wind company, came to us and actually said, let's use the resources, let's do something different. So we had 45 people from across European wind farm sites, and we literally did 2 days of formal assessment, sharing good practice, bringing sector bodies in that are leading on examples of confined space, first aid, and everybody went through that programme. Now, what came out of that was way more than anybody expected. It was about, even though they're one company, every site do something a little bit different. They'd never had the opportunity to share good practice, but it was also testing them that you may have a ticket in first aid, but you're now going to walk in a workshop, there's a car on its roof, there's 5 fatalities, and we've got screaming theatre people because they've gone into absolute panic. Not your normal day's training, and that's where we really pride ourselves. It's also about the international support and learning from experience. So one thing we really celebrate is we're not protective about lessons learned, good, bad and ugly. It's also about we can be the best that we can be by working with others. So we've had delegates from Virginia Beach, Brazil, Vietnam, European Department of Trade and Business, coming to understand what we've learned from training in offshore wind, but also how we can work together. So we've also developed a relationship with Bridgewater and Taunton down in Somerset. We're learning from their experience of nuclear and Hinkley, and they're learning from us about offshore wind, where you've now got the Celtic Sea, looking at doing that first phase of floating offshore wind. So gone are the days where a college is very protective. It's about opening doors and working together, because it not only saves time and resources, but it's the sharing the great practice. And that's what education should be celebrated every day of the week. So just to kind of wrap up, it's about inspiring the future workforce as well. Every company we speak to, whether it's local or international, struggles with the right recruitment. So it's looking at how our full-time students can access training. We put on masterclasses. It's that networking. It's inspiring the future workforce. It's learning from each other and doing different. So some of our curriculum at the moment, such as skills boot camps, we're working with the employer to shape it rather than it just becoming a college course. We really need to understand it's not just about a college or a qualification certificate. The key thing employers are also feeding back is it's about being work ready, and it's about behaviours and attitudes. And without that, we're not doing our students a good service by making sure they're well-rounded. So partnerships is also critical for us. And just to finish on that, partnerships and collaboration. So our Energy Skills Centre hosts other training providers that can operate in region. So for example, we've got international trainer Maersk, who do around the maritime and the offshore. We're their landlord. So it's not just about generating revenue, it's what can they bring into the building that we can then create new relationships with. We're now working with NIS, which is a UK company, around rail and engineering and civils, because we would not be able to buy all of the resources, gain the new trainers. So it's about don't reinvent the wheel, and it's about working together.
Thank you very much for attending SkillsFest 2025. It's a fabulous event, and I'm absolutely blown away with the amount of people. We've got people from Malaysia, where it must be getting towards midnight, Mauritius, Africa, and all over the world. So thank you for staying up or attending into this. So I'm Pete Jackson. I'm the International Business Development Manager for the IMI, or the Institute of the Motor Industry. And community, or together, we have a bit of a problem. And to follow on from what Paul and Nick were talking about, I'm going to ask you to start thinking about your lives, our planet, and what we're going to do about it. So let's get started. So this slide I've used for a couple of years now, but I've made one key change to it, and that's the title. I used to call this new technology or automotive new technology, but it's not anymore. It's current technology, it's today's technology, and our collective challenge really is to understand that and think what we can do about it. Some people call that the green skills agenda. I would like to call that sort of reality. My daughter's a marine biologist and is very passionate about the planet and what the human race has done to it or is doing to it. So some of these things that you'll recognise before. This grey section here, a lot of people have talked about electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles. I've called this alternative fuels because we've got to move away from petrol, diesel. And one of the solutions is electric vehicles. However, we also have hybrid vehicles. We have hydrogen vehicles. We have e-fuels. And that's all battling against each other to see which is the actual solution we're going to go with. Or is it a mixture of solutions that we will go with? I think that's more accurate. That's called net zero, which is obviously removing carbon from our planet. One of the lesser known ones is Vision Zero, where we're looking towards autonomous vehicles. And Vision Zero is about removing fatalities and accidents and increasing road safety on our roads. It's about keeping ourselves safe while we're travelling about. So you may have heard the terms of ADAS, or advanced driver assist systems. You may have had your car automatically jump on the brakes for you if you've missed something, or you may have a vibration on the steering wheel as it tries to keep you in the centre of the lane as you're driving forward. They are here today, and for tomorrow that will move towards autonomous vehicles. The net result of both autonomy and alternative fuels is that they need to be connected to each other. They need to be connected to the cars around them. They need to be connected to the infrastructure, which means the use of AI and big data, and equally as important, cybersecurity and personal data security. Another result of that is shared mobility. We are changing the way we own our vehicles. We're changing the vehicles we use and how we travel around as well. So really, I'd like to ask you to think about your own transport. Have a look out the window if it's still light enough to do that. What vehicles are on your road? Certainly here in the UK, we have over 1 million electric vehicles on the road already, and they're common sight. That changes different countries that you move around. But think about how you charge it, where you charge it, where you get your hydrogen from, where you get your e-fuels from, and what has that effect on the people that maintain, look after these cars or these vehicles, and what effect it has on the infrastructure from the original equipment manufacturers. And certainly picking up what Nick and Paul said about engineering, the research and technology that goes on alongside that. And this didn't stop during the COVID years. This is continued. So actually it's taken a leap forward. Just as an example, Toyota Prius was launched in the UK in 1997. Now I'm too young to remember that, but that was 28 years ago. That's ridiculous. The Toyota Mirai, it's a hydrogen powered vehicle which has extreme pressure of hydrogen stored within it. That's been on the road in the UK for 10 years now. Again, that's an amazing time. So going back to what I said, the technology is here and now. We need to do something about our skills, our knowledge, and the people working in, around, and starting to come in and around these vehicles and the automotive sector. So at the Institute of the Motor Industry, the IMI, we are three things. We're a professional body for individuals within the motor industry, everybody from the apprentice right the way up to the CEO. We're a world-class automotive qualifications and recognition solutions which are available globally, and they are already used globally. And the word Sector Skills Council and National Occupational Standards has been mentioned before by my peers, and we are the custodians of the automotive National Occupational Standards in the UK. So there's three things. Again, this has been mentioned before, and it's a common theme within the engineering and the skills sector as a whole. And it's about talent. It's about attracting talent for young people, whether it's actually young people coming in, whether it's reskilling, whether it's upskilling that talent that we have in and around us. It's a developing those people. Certainly in the Middle East, I know that the engineers and electricians are being used in the automotive industry because of their skills in manufacturing and also the high voltages that we're seeing today in the vehicles. And more importantly, it's about retaining those people with the new roles that are coming on board and the new skills that they need to have to keep up to date with that. So the IMI, we have over 120,000 members across 75 different countries in the world. We have 50 different countries that have IMI members with electric vehicle qualifications, and over 20 countries that have members with advanced driver assist or the autonomous vehicle qualifications. In total, we have more than 500 IMI approved centres across 26 different countries in the world. So we have a genuine automotive global position. And these are the solutions and the problems that we have with the world skills gap. So in blue on the left and the right hand side, we have the people or the businesses that need a solution. And on the right hand side, we have some solutions with the green boxes in the middle are the IMI solutions that can help. So people like the original equipment manufacturers, the supply manufacturers, the maintenance and repair people, the dealer networks, industry organisations such as the aftermarket, and also training providers are all looking to fill the skills gap and to support those within it. New technology, I kind of use that loosely. I guess it is new technology because we're talking about military style sensors and actuators fitted to vehicles, and we're talking extremely high voltages and high pressures, which we need to train our people and make sure everybody's safe working in and around them. They are safe vehicles, I have to point out that. We're reskilling, we're upskilling. We also mustn't lose concentration on the actual foundations. It's okay putting on these very, very highly technical vehicles or computers on wheels, but we need our young people and our reskilling people to understand the fundamentals of that vehicle technology. And we also need to keep it going. Continual professional development is important. And that's why we have international qualifications, accreditations, and also ERTEC accreditation, which are aimed at the heavy vehicle and commercial vehicle sector. So these are just a few ideas of what we got, some examples. I'm aware of the time, so I'm going to go through these quite quickly. So our electric vehicle qualifications are twofold, really. We have a tech-safe recognition system and professional register. And this is designed for those who are currently working in the automotive industry to give them the short courses to allow them to upskill to work on electric hybrid vehicles. As important are the ones outside the blue box in the yellow box for the emergency services, police, fire, rescue, ambulance, roadside recovery. And as important, a level 1 for non-technical people to make sure that if they're inquisitive about electric vehicles or want to know more, they get the actual information that they need. Similar to electric vehicle solutions, we have advanced driver assist system solutions. Again, same idea, tech-safe recognition to give those working in the industry the right qualifications, skills and knowledge to be able to work on them. Same with hydrogen, with the pressures, not just for fuel cell, but also for burning hydrogen in place of diesel. And tech-safe recognition is, as I mentioned before, CPD. It's about identifying the skills gap. It's about gaining the qualification, but more importantly, it's about keeping those skills up to date on a cyclic process. As I mentioned before, some of these vehicles have been about since the mid-90s, so therefore people gaining qualifications then need to constantly upskill and update. This is a screenshot of our professional register. Anybody that gains a tech-safe recognised electric vehicle, advanced driver assist system or hydrogen system is offered a complimentary place on this with IMI membership with that. And this is open to the public sector or public domain, and you can search by location, business or the member's name, which a lot of governance and governments are using this to see how many people there are in their regions with those qualifications. We also have qualification solutions for light vehicle maintenance and repair, body and paint, non-technical qualifications, specialist qualifications such as the electric vehicle, and also extended diplomas. one of the big things that we do is we work with technical trainers who have been in the industry a long time, but they need to maintain their own skills and knowledge. So we identify existing teachers and trainers. We give them, or we develop an EV training program such as diagnostic and master levels to make sure that they have these new skills in the same way that we do the technicians working in the aftermarket. We then give them some training to do with assessing and internal verification, and that gives them the TechSafe recognition. It also gives them the ability to work with IMI qualifications and deliver those IMI qualifications, and allows their school, their academy, or their training provision to offer IMI qualifications as a total. So I make it 6 o'clock. That's me finished, Jonathan. Thank you very much for the invitation to present. Back to you.
Pete, as always, amazing and brilliant, and just the kind of person we need right at the end to move us along and keep us on track. But really, really good. And as you know, I'm IMI's #1 fan. I really think that you do a fantastic job in so many countries. And it's great for you to set out that proposition. And I suspect there's some people out there that want to connect with you, but also maybe some closer affiliation with some of our speakers. Now, look, because we are out of time, I would ask you all to come back on, because there is a couple of questions that I think we can just quickly go through. But I just want to ask one question actually in particular, which is around how people engage with you. So all the speakers, if you can come back online, that would be fantastic. If Calley and that's probably done a run already, they'd probably be, oh no, they're still there, like they're awake with us. Come on, that's brilliant. Good. Okay. So it's really, really good. I'm really grateful to you all for hanging about. And I know time is a little late, but look, everyone says they've got something brilliant. And I guess I had two questions in my mind, and some of you are going to go, oh my God, he's going to ask this question about so what again, right? So what if you do engineering? So what if you do automotive? Why is it that people should engage with you, and what can you do to pack a punch in their countries? And I'm just going to go round in a clockwise order. And Pete, I'm actually going to start with you because you're first on my screen, even though you was the last speaker. But I am going to do creeping death round to everybody that's on screen. So this is your chance to really kind of just pitch and say why people should actually connect with you and get in touch with you, and what brilliance can you do around the world. So thanks.
Cool. Well, look, we're a non-for-profits organisation. We are passionate about the automotive industry. We exist to support the automotive industry. We do everything outside the factory gates. We are experienced across the globe. So my contact details are in the chat. I'm also on LinkedIn, as a number of you have already contacted me. So please reach out. We'll have a chat, see how we can help, I can support. So thank you very much, Jonathan.
Great, Pete. Oh, it's Calley and Calley. Look, your turn.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think from our perspective, you know, going back to our vision and our mission, from us, we know there's emerging skills gaps. We know that people are struggling to recruit or retrain staff. So actually, if there's something that we can do at NCC to be able to support organisations or individuals to be able to bridge that, then we're all for it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Neil.
So the work that we do, it helps hopefully avert major accidents from happening around the globe. They happen with a frightening regularity. So we obviously have demonstrated that this works in any sort of context, any industry, any country. So happy to share the good practice that we've evolved over the last 15 years.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm going to go to Nicola and Paul now, even though you're not on the same screen. So,
we're not. High level, I think we're invested in closing the skills gap in engineering and manufacturing. The sector supports productivity and GDP in the UK, and it can do internationally as well in the countries which we support. And I think the key thing for us is we are a sector connector. We want to collaborate. We don't necessarily always want to compete with everybody, so we can bring everybody together to create that sustainable skills solution, whatever that may be, in those products and services.
Right. Great. Paul, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I have actually. I mean, I think also the way to look at us as a group is that we help you take ownership of your skills mastery. So whether you're the government, whether you're an employer, we are there to help you bridge that gap.
Brilliant. Thank you. Allan, thank you so much for joining us. We're going over to F1 wizardry now with Allan.
Well, I'm glad you started with F1 because, you know, what we've seen is that F1 is projecting itself all over the world. The drive to survive is kind of inspiring people. And the question's being asked, how do people get involved in motorsport? And I think what you've seen is the approach we're taking is already being recognised by experts within the industry, within the UK, within America, you know, Italy, all where motorsport is, you know, dominant and at the forefront of their technology. We're embracing that. Everyone's saying we're doing it right. We're delivering, got the potential to deliver the right skills. We're embracing green technology, you know, aligning with the kind of key messages. So, and a lot of these skills are transferable. So, you know, we're here to help. They can find me on LinkedIn, SCU Motorsport website, or my contact details are on the end of the presentation. So yeah, feel free to get in touch.
Fantastic. Allan, thank you so much indeed. And that must mean that Jamie, you are never last but least, but there you are. It's you.
Word. Yeah. I think I'll end with what I started with in terms of the mission of our college, which is making learning work. So we were, you know, evidently doing a lot of great things. Typically being Scottish and British, we don't brag about it, and we should, because everyone here today is amazing and doing great in their fields. And I think that's what I'd encourage, is to have a conversation with us, find out more than we were able to deliver in the presentation, and then look at how we can also collaborate, because there's so many organizations that we can come together and provide that full suite of services and offerings. You don't have to think you only have to choose one and it's a competition. As one of the speakers said, the college sector and the skills and training sector is much more open and collaborative than others. So please do just reach out and see where we can piece together to fit exactly what you guys need. But thanks again for listening to us for the last couple of hours. And thanks, Jonathan, for everything.
Thank you so much. One of the reasons why I always run this once a year is, and have so many speakers, is literally because of the diversity in the sector. I think I started by saying this. And for me, those of you that know me will know that I believe that vocational training is a first choice, every time choice, never a second choice or bad choice. And I think, you know, the world needs to get back to skills for jobs. That's really what we're focused on here. Everybody is really pummeling hard to get people qualified and skilled and up-trained, you know, to help them maybe for their first job or the last job, or to transfer from one sector to another. But, you know, what is clear to me over the years and working across 78 countries is that UK brilliance in skills and training really is a global thing. It's not just a UK thing, and that we are happy to share it. So leaves me no more to say than thank you for clinging to the walls and staying with us. And we know it's late here in the evening, and most of these people are literally dying to get out and go home and have a lemonade or whatever it is that they're going to do next. But it's really, really great to have you all on board. I would also say that we have, just as a reminder, of course, 3 sessions in the morning. So on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, 8 a.m. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we have another session at 12 o'clock. And on Wednesday and Thursday, we have another session at 4 o'clock. Different speakers, different subjects. So it's all mixed up as we go along. But thank you to Neil, Pete and Calley and Calley and Jamie and Nicola and Allan and Paul for coming along today and sharing their wisdom and their expertise. And do get in touch with them. That's what they're there for. Thanks so much, everybody. And have a great evening if it's evening with you. Take care.